I'm Kerry. I'm a retired financial advisor. So I've been in this investment business for a long time. I'm about to turn 80 years old in September. And I believe that I will make more money in the next 3 to 5 years than I have in my entire lifetime. And I mean that because I've read all these books. I understand where we are in the development of a civilization and the changes that are about to come as a result of artificial intelligence, genome sequencing, genome editing, and synthetic biology. I know that our world is going to change more in the next 5 years than it did in the preceding 100 years. And as if I can see, as a result of reading these books and coming to understand what artificial intelligence is, what synthetic biology is, what genome sequencing is, and how they all interrelate, and how it's going to be made possible as a result of accelerated computing and silicone computer chips. I've put all that together, and then I said, if I can specialize in this, much as become a neurosurgeon, if you will, about investing, I can make more money in the next 3 to 5 years than I can up until this point in my lifetime, over the last 79 and a half years. So what I did was I said, okay, who are the companies in the AI, synthetic biology, genome sequencing, semiconductor areas? What are the companies that are going to be the major players into that? And I came up with 43 companies. So then what I said to myself is, I need to analyze all these 43 companies and their past earnings history and their past revenue growth, and then take and create an algorithm, if you will, so that I can predict what the price of those stocks are going to be over the next 3 years based on the projections that they provide me, the interpretation of those projections by the analyst in the industry, and then my knowledge that I've learned from these books, and then reading about their individual stocks and sitting in on their individual earnings reports every quarter and coming to understand who's running the companies, what are the companies all about, and where do they all interrelate, and how can I make a profit off of it. That's what I've done. So I took those 43 companies, analyzed them both on a technical basis and a fundamental basis, and I narrowed it down to 36. I then went and, as I said, analyzed their past earnings history and saw how it fluctuated relative to their earnings per share, their revenue, and their ability to generate free cash flow. That created the algorithm. I then plugged in what was their price based upon on the 2nd of January in 2024, and based on their past history and their future projections, what is the price of that stock going to be on December the 31st of 2026? And that's what I've done. And I want to share it with you, and I want to share how I've done it, and how I'm going to then manage it, how I'm going to allocate my $600,000 in my growth portfolio into these 36 stocks, not giving any one of them more than 5% of the total portfolio, and then how I'm going to manage them through the next 5 years or 3 years. That will take me to December 31st. It's actually, 2.5 years, December 31st, 2026. How am I going to manage them? And then how am I going to share that management with my tribe? Okay, that's what I want to do in this video. I want to show you the sheet that I have created. It's an addition to my cheat sheet. It's an actual breakdown of the 43 stocks down to 36, how much I'm putting, how many shares of each one I'm buying, what percentage of the portfolio am I dedicating to it, and then I will use this as I gather more information over the next 2.5 years to make changes on a daily basis so that I hit my goal. My 600,000 will grow. Currently, I see it growing to $3,281,761.48. That's my goal. If you don't know where the end of the race is, if you don't have a strategy, you probably won't finish. You'll quit somewhere along the line. So let me take you to the computer. Let me share this with you. Let me tell you how you can become a part of this, how you can get a copy of this in your email so you can then adjust it to your portfolio just by plugging in your amount, whether it's 50,000, whether it's 5,000, or whether it's 5 million, and then build your portfolio accordingly in what I believe is the investment opportunity of a lifetime. Let me show you how it works. Okay, this is where it starts, and this is what you'll find on our website now. This was the BUS 12, or is the BUS 12 and BUS 13 portfolios. The BUS 12 being those stocks that I feel are going to be the major players in the build-out of the data centers and the semiconductors. And then the BUS 12 is the stocks that are going to deliver artificial intelligence to us, mostly software, cybersecurity, things of that nature. And then this down here are my moonshots. These are the stocks that I think have some real potential to give you some major gains. What I do here is this is used to analyze the stocks and say, this is what they're selling for right now. If I'm buying today, this is my target price. This is where I want to buy it. And based on my analysis, if I buy it at the target price, this is the level of return that I will receive. If, on the other hand, I buy it at today's price, this is the level of return that I think I'm going to receive. I then share with you how many, what part of the outstanding stock is owned by institutions, and then I give you their 5-year average rate of return. I think this is important so that we can distinguish what I call depressed stocks from those who are rallying at this time. And to give you an example, one of my favorite stocks right now is AEHR Systems. It's down here, and you can see that it has had a 5-year average rate of return of 168%, but thus far, it is down some 50% for the year. So that's how we break it out. Now, what I'm adding to that is my analysis work and my allocation of my portfolio. And this is what I'm going to be adding to the cheat sheet. And I created it really for myself to give me an easy way to allocate my 600,000, and you'll see that down here, into those stocks, those 36 stocks that I actually want to own. And as you'll see here, this is where I went through and got the allocation based on how much I wanted, and none of them have more than 5% in. So I do the equation, and I come out and say that I want to hold 160 or 134 shares of Apple. I currently have 160, and as you can see, the numbers just changed because this is an active chart. It's keyed to the S&P or to the stock market, and so as that price changes, these numbers change as well. Then what I've done is said, okay, there are some of the stocks that, based on the analysis I've done, and I'll show you that, and yet let's use NVIDIA as an example. As you can see here, I have entered their earnings per share, their stock price movement, their revenue, their research and development expenditure. And what I'm trying to do is predict, based on past history, it's telling me that in NVIDIA, for every 37% increase in their earnings per share, they're going to get a 64% increase in their stock price. I then also factor in their earnings or their revenues and their amount of expenditure on research and development. That then creates an algorithm that I can say their price of their stock was $475 on January the 2nd in 2024, and based on their projections of earnings in 2024, which they're saying their earnings are going to go up from $3.34 to $12.96, that's a 288% increase. And then in 2025, they say their earnings are going to go from $12.96 to $20.88. That's a 92%. I use those numbers to then say, if the history continues as it has in the past, based on the $475 price on January the 2nd and the $288 projection, by the end of 2024, the stock price will be $2,835. That's based on past history. Is that accurate? I don't know. But it gives me a means by which to measure NVIDIA against all of the other 35 stocks that I have in the portfolio. It's projecting that, again, based on an increase in earnings of 92% in 2025, the price of the stock will be $7,328, and then based on a 22% increase in 2026, by December the 31st, 2026, the price of NVIDIA will be $10,144. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. But it gives me then a means by which to measure every other stock, such as here's Micron Technology. I do the same kind of analysis, and I tell I say that Micron, which is selling today for 120, will be selling for 329 in December of 2026. And I do it basically for every stock in those 26. This is Modine, has a factor of 120% on every 85% growth in earnings per share. So its price of 106 will be 188 in 2026. What this then does is give me a means by which to measure the stocks as we move through the coming years. And I do that here. These numbers are plugged into the numbers I've just showed you, and I can come here and build my portfolio based on the allocations. As you can see, I want 132 shares of Apple. I hold 160, so I'm going to have to sell some. I want to own 33 shares of NVIDIA. I don't own any at this time. But if I go back to my cheat sheet, I see that NVIDIA is currently priced at $910. I want to buy it at $723. If I buy it at the $723, my return is going to be substantially higher than if I buy it at its current price. And I do that by studying the charts on the various stocks. So that's how this works. How do you get access to this? It was my intention to make this part of our Platinum program and make it part of the $60 payment program. And as I spoke to Trent and Mark about it, their opinion is this is too important to restrict it to a small group of people. There are some people who cannot afford $60 a month, and we should make it available, or a version of it available, to younger people. So people who should have an opportunity to learn from us and invest in this investment opportunity of a lifetime. So I'm going to basically hold back, and I'm going to do another video, and you need to come and see that tomorrow. And I'm going to explain there's two ways that you will be able to gain access to this research that will be ongoing, and we will send a copy. There will be two different copies. One will give you the projections of what the price of the stocks are going to be on December the 31st of 2026, roughly, a year and a half, 2.5 2.5 years from now. Then there will be another version of it that will go to our platinum level that will be more detailed and give what the price is going. We think the price is going to be at the end of this year, 2024, what it will be 2025, as well as the 2026. Then the other element that the platinum group will continue to get is the cheat sheet that gives the prices that we think the market will give us in the very near future until Jerome lowers interest rates. But between now and then, there's going to be some buying opportunities. That's where I'm going to buy my NVIDIA. That's where I'm going to buy my additional stock in some of the high flyers that are going to give me some big returns. That will be available to the Platinum team. But tune in tomorrow, and I'll tell you how we will make a version of it available to virtually everybody who wants to follow our program. Tune in tomorrow, and we'll set it up so that you can afford it. Talk to you then.